Alrighty, so here we got the tier list. We're gonna do overall my tier list of what I like to say is some of the best, the solo carry characters, right? That's the priority. We're not gonna look at championship or tourney based type of picks, things that carry you in solo queue and just how strong and effective they are. All right. So let's get straight into it. So first on the list we got is Aurora. Now Aurora, she does so much damage. She has really good CC. She's pretty tanky. I'm gonna put her in S tier. I think throughout the entire, just what you're getting is, with her entire kit and her ability to basically play lane really safe and still being useful even when behind due to how much stun she has, right? She's gonna go into S tier. Definitely a character if you're not a main offlaner that, if you are a main offlaner or not, you should learn how to play her because she's pretty basic and applies a lot of pressure, good clear, phenomenally good damage. Next on the list we got is Countess. Now, Countess kind of getting moved back a tad bit, but also her ultimate, right, does percent HP. You're getting a lot of tanks now with a ton of HP. She does really well, but she still has that. She doesn't have what I like to say that early game. She's very late game based and requires you to kind of go in and engage. I've been having success with her, right? So if you can one trick her, you can definitely cook something up. So I'm gonna take her. I am gonna probably put her into a B tier. Sorry, we had the match found right here. Let's get rid of that bad boy right now. I'm gonna take Countess and I'm gonna put her in B tier, especially with the new tank build. That I think you don't necessarily, you might not have to build it all the way, but we're still gonna try and cook and play with it. Just a really strong character. With that build, it allows you to sustain more and do more without going in. Turn out you get stunned and get obliterated. So there'll be a YouTube video on that. Don't know if it'll come before or after this. Next we got is Crunch. Now the issue with Crunch, CC. There's just better characters than Crunch as well. He does a lot of damage, but man, if you get one form of stun, you lose that ramp up, that synergy, the momentum that that Crunch brings. And it's like he can definitely, if you solo carry, you can definitely solo carry with him. If people are caught out and everything. But once you're in fighting in groups and whatnot and getting into the team fights, I'm gonna put him in B because I do think that the tanky meta has helped him a bit. But once again, right, one form of CC, you're going against a team that's really good team comp and synergy, and your team isn't doing that well. He can kind of fall off, but he still can be pretty good, especially with the recent changes due to tanks. We got Decker next. Decker got the nerf, right? But there's just no better support. Like she's still just top of the list. Having the stun, having the escape, having still really decent damage, good cooldowns all around. I think Cresselia still being a really strong item for her to help with cooldowns. She's gonna be the character you need to learn how to play if you get autofilled as support. She's too basic, she's too easy to play, and she has range, right? So she's going in S tier, no questions asked. Drongo. This guy, for some reason, once he gets first item, he still does so much damage. And I think he is going, like I said, this S tier is going to be the characters I would say you want to pick. Like if you don't have, if another character got picked or whatnot, like you need to learn this type of character. I am going to put Drongo in there. His ultimate applying Shred, basically giving him an escape with some invulnerability as well, bringing in the silence. Relatively safe laning phase compared to other carries. It's just that he's just a monster and definitely someone to learn. Argus, still an absolute beast. He has the stun, that makes him broken, like honestly by default. And on top of that, his damage wasn't changed. It was I think it was a cooldown reduction, or it was a size change on his stun. There's no changes to his kit. He's still broken. Just throw your E in first. That's it. Fang Mao. Fang Mao has definitely been cooking and still has been cooking, but his level of going in and kind of, being the hard engage that he is. If you think you're in an elo where people aren't grouping properly, near S tier. If you're in an elo where people are grouping properly, but your team isn't grouping as well, then you can kind of drop him down a tier. I am gonna bias him towards A tier because he still has that insane burst. I don't know if I want to really give him that. I haven't seen him cook as much as I'd like to. He's a bit weird for me. I'm probably gonna bias him between a B and A. But if you can one trick this guy, you can play him in A and jungle. Like if you play him jungle, you just gotta watch out. Also, if your team doesn't have tanks, you gotta be careful of picking that character. Faye, only con of Faye, no escape. But she does so much damage now. Her clear is super good. You guys seen it in the videos if you watch the videos that I make of her. She's busted. I really do think that people need to learn this character. She has no escape. Learn jungle timers. Learn how to position. She's a phenomenal character. You know, I have not had an issue with her. Just long range poke. Procs Mega Cosmoth cooldown against tanks. You know, it just insane damage. Now Gadget, I honestly really do like playing Gadget. I do think she got hit a little bit though with the tank changes. You know, so she's definitely not as strong. She's not as someone I want to say like you should pick her. But if you are not a very comfortable mid laner, just know that you want to use her ultimate and her RMB or her alternate ability as like a zone base, shred. You know, you want to use her kit on pit and stuff like that. So I'm between like giving her A and B. B because once again, it's hard to really carry with her. You know, I think I'm gonna put her into a B right now with the tank meta and whatnot. Still really strong, but you know, you have to poke. You have to hit those Qs. And if you're not able to really get that poke in, and you're not really getting those primes and you know, Fang Teeth and whatnot, she did fall off a bit. You still can play her pretty well in the off lane, but tanks are just too strong right now. Gideon, this is probably the first time I'm going to put Gideon in C tier. Ultimate feels useless. He has burst with his primary and alternate ability, but man, there's better mid laners than him. I just would not pick this character right now. The ultimate feels nearly useless. It doesn't feel that good. It's just, I'd rather someone who doesn't know how to play pick Gadget and like I said, ult on top of the enemy and still spam abilities than have him pick Gideon. Cool, you can escape and not die, but you're gonna bring like, his ultimate just has been useless in my opinion, you know, from what I've seen. Maybe he can be better in lower elo, but he just doesn't feel good. There's just better characters to climb with him. So I'm gonna throw him into C tier. Greystone got a bit better with the tank meta. He actually does a surprising amount of early game damage, but there's better offlaners overall that I'd rather not prioritize him. So I'm gonna put him in like into a B. He doesn't have the best farming. He can escape pretty well, has really good annoyance to him, but it just kind of feels lacking, especially with what we're seeing here, you know, with the top picks kind of coming in. Now Grim has kind of fallen off a bit, mainly he does a lot of damage, but there's just been better carries. So I rather would just kind of not put this guy on the list. I'd avoid him. Like I said, a lot of damage. Ultimate's nearly, you know, halfway across the map, but it's like, you know, you have so much CC, you have the tanks to worry about. He's not worth it much in my opinion right now. I wouldn't pick him. Grux. Now people are gonna be kind of iffy with this. MSU appreciate MSU Lacrosse appreciate the follow. We had a phenomenal day. Now Grux here. Grux. I don't like seeing Grux. I'm gonna be real with you, but I see low elo cooking with Grux, and that's my problem. Only people that are gonna be watching the video are gonna understand. Are gonna understand the Grux here, like where I'm gonna put him. Okay, but if you're in low elo, you can cook with Grux. The second you come in with people that just know how to play the game, right? He becomes, you know, kind of trash. I'd put him in A tier for low elo, maybe S tier. But once you get into the point where people are understanding, you got to learn a new character. He's like Crunch. Crunch might be a little bit more viable because you can build him more tanky. All I got to say is just one form of CC kind of melts him. Now, Howie is just a solid pick still. Would I say he's the best one right now? No. So if you don't have an Argus or a Fae, you can definitely still pick Howie. He has good poke. His ultimate technically got a buff into late game. He still cooks. So I would definitely look into, if those two get banned and you find him a little bit boring, Howie is going to be able to sustain a lot. He has some pretty decent peel and CC with his secondary ability, and good damage overall. But like I said, not necessarily the priority that I would say of Argus and Fae. Next we got is Kira. Now I'm going to be real with you, I haven't seen Kira too much, but she has actually done a ton of damage. The problem with Kira though, do not use her ultimate. Her ultimate is trash. Like, don't use it. Use it to clear minions. Use it to do damage through walls. But don't use her ultimate. You want to build the crit type of build, in my opinion, and just basic. Apply your passive, and you do a ton of damage. There's still better carries with more utility than her, but she's not necessarily bad. I'm only really gonna put her in a B tier because, well, like I said, there's better carries than her, and I really don't want to see her being picked per se. But, well, she's just easy to play. That's the only con. She's easy to play and has an escape. I'd say between it B and A, but I have bias being in high elo. I'm gonna put her into B, and I'm gonna tell you guys what I think is just better to learn, higher up. Iggy, now Iggy just has really solid clear, solid push. But his turrets, I don't feel like he's doing as much damage to tanks right now. And those are the people you may be hitting first. So you have really good clear on taking objectives and whatnot. But I haven't been liking him too much. He just hasn't been cooking, in my opinion. So I'm honestly gonna take him, and I'm probably gonna put him in a B right now. And it changes up in high level play, right? Because you have that objective prio. But like the carry games and whatnot, you're not gonna do that really with Iggy. You're just not gonna do that with him. I'd be amazed if you're carrying games with him. Now Kalari kind of getting beat up with the tank patch. Squishies are still super easy to kill overall, but she takes a lot of skill. You're not getting a tank on your team. I am gonna take her. I'm gonna say honestly, avoid her. There's just better characters to play, so I put her in the C list. Avoid her. Chimera is still an absolute monster. Really good carry potential. Really good damage. Has really good sustain. I'm debating if this is like an S or A right here. It's because I think he's really good for low elo play. Slightly falls off in late game, right? Well, not falls off. He just plateaus in a way. He gets such a big ramp and then kind of plateaus. So it's like it's iffy. I think I'm gonna put him in A. I'd say between S and A. Low elo, S tier. I think as you climb up, he can fall down towards A. Kwang, this guy's buff, his damage, his CC, the buff to overall tank items. Man, I just think that this guy absolutely slaps. I think I'm gonna throw him into S tier. It's just that I love seeing a good Kwang on my team. When I see a Kwang and I know that they at least have that they're good, I know he's actually gonna do a pretty good job when it comes to, even if not in lane, into team fights. The tether that you can't even blink out of, on top of all the CC that you're gonna get on top, being more tanky, sustain is there right now. I am gonna put him in S and someone that you want to play. All right, next we got Azarus. Now Azarus has kind of fallen off surprisingly, and I'm a little confused on to why. But I guess it's just due to kind of having better characters and him not being the best tanky build. But I haven't seen him much to really give my best opinion on Zarus. Like, I really have not seen this guy in game, and I don't play him much. So I'm gonna, to be like overall, I think you can still absolutely cook with him. That lock on his ult is definitely super good. I want to say that he goes into A tier, but the problem is that CC, right? You have the cleanse with the Kai, but you don't really have the cleanse with him. But that ultimate is still pretty monstrous, and his overall sustain on his passive is pretty good. So I am gonna put him in A tier. I haven't seen him, but I know he still has his burst damage. I know he still has that, and I know his ultimate is gonna still slap, even with 20 seconds they added on cooldown. Bellica, if I see anyone, stop picking this character. Stop picking this terrible, terrible character, bro. I'm tired of seeing people pick this character. She did nothing. doesn't do as much damage still with her ultimate. She does have burst assassination for 1 kill, but she has no escape. She doesn't have any. You miss that Q, you're useless. I don't like seeing her in my games. I don't think anyone should play this character right now. There are just better characters to play. Stop playing this character. Um, Now, Morgish has done some pretty solid damage and is really strong in tank meta. I am going to make a big assumption here, and in low elo, that she can slap tank, that she can slap in low elo, is why I'm going to take her and put her in A. Falls off in high level play, right? But how many is high level play? You could play Morgish in my games, easily 90% of the time and do well. But in that 10% of high elo games, that's where she'll fall off. But she applies the mega custom stacks. She applies, all the just absolutely shreds tanks. Shreds everybody. Let's be real here. So I am gonna throw her in A, and she's definitely someone you want to pick if you do see some tankiness and you're a mid laner and your team seems to have some pretty good CC, right? She's just gonna shred through those tanks, and she's gonna shred through carries. Mega Crossum is just gonna proc so much on her. Murdoch has absolutely been slapping as a carry recently. I don't really know what the heck they did to him, but just has done really well. So I do want to say, if you are a new carry player or something, Murdoch's really good by giving you the movement speed. You're probably going to forget to place the traps, but please learn how to place those traps, especially when you're in a fight. Put a trap down and stand on it, right? Someone jumps on you, you have that trap to play around, right? You also have that knockback, that's going to help you, and you're going to have the movement speed. Plus, you can snipe kills to get you leads and whatnot. So, definitely has been a really solid character right now. Now, Muriel, I haven't really seen her too much overall. So I really can't say that she's doing too hot. She got some massive buffs too. So I'm going to be real with you. I actually don't know what to rate her. I guess you're just seeing you're still seeing Zinx is really solid and all that. And you're still seeing Decker. You got Steel, you got the tank supports. Even Narbash I haven't seen that much. So I'm kind of like, overall, like, I would say kind of avoid her as a support in terms of carrying. If you kind of have to play her, you can. But there's better supports, that are going to apply damage, apply CC, that are going to give more utility for the entire team. And that'll come with Narbash. So I might put her on C because you should avoid her, in my opinion. Now, Narbash, this guy still cooks, man. I don't see the issue besides him being melee. Scales really well into late game. You get a stun. Build True Silver for the stun. You can still build Reclamation pretty easily on him. Get the heals. Just heals a ton. Overall, just kind of cooks. So, I mean, I would definitely say pick up, Narbash support is still pretty solid overall. But you got to play safer. So, most of the time at least. You're going to have to count on your jungler to gank you. And you're going to have really good gank setups. Now, FaZe, I haven't seen this character that much. And I think there's just too much damage overall. And the reason why I don't like FaZe is that she doesn't bring any damage. She has a root that's really good, but I don't think she's as viable. I haven't seen her too much. So I can't give my true honest opinion on FaZe. To be honest with you, I just haven't seen her get picked often. So I'm going to put her also in C tier. You got Argus, you got Narbash, you got Decker, you got Zinx coming up in the future. It's just kind of like I don't see a point really in picking her up. Next we got his Rampage. Now Rampage still cooks. Would I put him in S tier? I say it kind of depends, but definitely A tier. Really good damage. First off, the stun lasts forever. Relatively easy to hit in my opinion. Has the jump to get over ledges and everything. Really tanky, really big. Soaks up a lot of damage. Dishes out a lot of damage. I got definitely A tier, borderline S tier, I guess. It just has been, I noticed I haven't really put too much overall junglers coming in here. We'll get them kind of soon. I would say like borderline overall, same with kind of Chimera in a way, but he's better. So definitely I would put Rampage into there. Alrighty. Now we got Revenant. Now, Revenant has seen an increase in play. But I still can't justify why you want to play Revenant when there's better carries. There are just better carries than him. He does a phenomenal amount of damage. But late game, every carry is going to do a lot of damage. And you know, he doesn't really have a solid escape besides his ultimate. And I'm not, I don't, you have to have a pretty decent team on it. So I'm not really going to say he's that great. Now, this is where the bias comes in. It's just, you could, you know, if you're good with him and you solo and you one trick him, he honestly can slap, and you can definitely put him. You know, I could see him being a B tier or someone that you do want to play, but it's just like I said, it's just there's better carries. Why learn that carry when there's better carries? Richter, S tier. I can't believe what they did and buffed his E when he's already so strong. Plus they buffed tanks. He can play 3 roles. The issue is you do have to hit those hooks. He doesn't hit those hooks, he's gonna kind of fall off. So low elo, the one thing you could do in low elo to make Richter better is don't prioritize your hook when you're with your team. Let your team hit a stun, you hook whoever they stun, right? Or try to go Rift Walkers, use your dash, get a solid ultimate, and you know, then get a hook, right? Get your silence, get a hook, or hook and then get your silence. So like, there's a lot of ways to still play him, and he's just tanky, just still absolute boss, right? So it's just has to be a S tier right now. Now, I've heard people have been actually cooking with Seraph, and I do think she's overall really strong and outputs a ton of damage. The problem is that you need tanks, and tanks are kind of meta now. You pick this character, she doesn't have the burst potential like a Fang Mao, you know? So I am surprisingly gonna put her into B tier only because she slaps low elo really hard. High elo, she's gonna fall off, right? There's better characters than her. So, you know, once you start climbing up, you're gonna probably have to drop her. Unless your team has a ton of CC and tankiness by default at that point. Sevrog, this guy entered S tier. He's an absolute demon. He's so freaking annoying to play against. He has the root, he has the knock up, he has the sustain, he has the heals. He's just an absolute menace. And if you can play him well, he's good throughout all elos. So that's kind of it. Now, some of y'all gonna be mad with my Shinbi pick. I hate seeing this character, bro. I heard people say in low elo to pick Shinbi. I'm biased, alright? I play high elo. I think Shinbi is 100% dog water still. Has no CC. Has damage. That all tanks have damage as well, and sustain. It's just that once she uses her dash, dude, she's so predictable. She's such a predictable character. I hate seeing Shinbi's on the team. I just don't want to see her. Let's be real here. You know, I am definitely showing a ton of bias on this, but definitely not the character in IMO. Sparrow, I haven't seen her too often. Now, don't get me wrong, she still absolutely shreds. Low elo, you could probably cook with her. People are really weird and confusing in low elo, right? I'm gonna put her in a B though because they're just better carries. But I would definitely say that in low elo, you could definitely pick Sparrow, play it safe, farm up, and then just freaking one-shot tanks basically with this character. She still scales really well. And with the tank meta, and as long as you're not the one getting, you know, demolished in lane, which focus tends to be terrible for low elo players, it seems, that Sparrow can still cook. Steel entered S rank. Just even if he doesn't get fed, is still an absolute monster. So I'm gonna. He has literally so much CC. The knockups, that shield wall is absolutely broken, man. You know, completely negates projectiles. It's just his kit is just so ridiculously strong with tanks getting buffed. Always has been, I think, between the A and S tier. You know, except for Pinzo. Pinzo put him on C tier one time, which blew my mind. Guess what? That's when he was actually really strong. Haha. A little shade right there. But he's just a strong character. He's someone that you don't know how to play this character that well. He doesn't have as much damage, right? But if you don't know how to play this character that well, you can play him support. You can play him. Sorry, not this character. The lanes that he goes to, he will still do really good just because his kit is very. His kit is very, you know, simple and easy to use. You just need his kit. You don't really need the items behind it. Although the items are really good. Terra, I've honestly kind of seen Terra fall off, and I haven't liked her. She's super squishy. Kind of gets beat up. And tanks are just kind of cooking her. Get some Basilisk Shred, and you just absolutely melt her as a carry. I haven't been liking her. So, you know, from what I've seen, I would kind of avoid overall picking her. She still does a ton of damage. but they're just better overall characters I want to see in the off lane or even the jungle. Still viable. It's just that, more viable than Sarah. Like I would, uh I'd put her on A tier. I'd throw her on A tier. In terms of that, you should, if you are gonna jungle and you want to kind of play, she's not bad. She should be good in low elo, and she definitely still has a spot in high level play. With the cleanses and whatnot. But just you overextend with her, you can get melted. That's the only con I'd say with Terra. Twin Blast. This guy got a buff for no stupid reason. Shreds tanks into late game. The resolution on third item, fourth item with Demolisher just absolutely kills it. I've been building Sky Splitter as my first item after Soul Chalice. Holy crap, is his damage surprising. So, I would say this guy is an absolute demon. And he scales really well into late game. His Q range is really far and it does a ton of damage. I'm gonna throw him into S. Someone that you should definitely look into meaning in the carry role. Now Wraith does a lot of damage, right? But man, if you miss the RMB and your team is just not cooking, dude, he's so hard to just kind of cook with. I would say avoid him. He just takes too long. Like, I just don't like to see him on the team because, once again, right, he does honestly shred tanks pretty well, especially with the resolution build and going basically full pen and his E scaling based off of pen or scaling pen. It's just that there's better characters overall, and I'm not a big fan of him overall. So I gotta throw him into C. Zinx, absolute monster in the support role. The heals, the revive, squishy, but you shouldn't be playing up front really with her, and just provide so much sustain for your carry. So I'm gonna give her. She's definitely the S tier list, So these are definitely the characters I would say that overall, for like simplicity's sake and all that these are the characters you should be looking into playing, in the carry role. And like I said, Countless with the new build, hey, it might actually come in and enter S tier. There's a chance, but she's a little bit, harder to play from what I've been told from other people. Is where I've kind of thrown her into B. But I like that. I like that build on her. A lot of sustain. So, and I'm biased. I'm a Countess main. But yeah, overall, these are the two things I would say you definitely want to look into and try and prioritize. SA, the characters you want to play. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys did enjoy this, this is a live on stream tier list as well. So I try not to look at the chat, although I'm taking some little snippets every here and there. But yeah, don't forget to leave comments thinking what you think about this tier list. But yeah, on that note, for the YouTube video, I'll catch you later. Good luck on your games.